There is a place in western Washington with lots of history beneath its soil, now a fish hatchery, and also turned into one of the most popular fishing spots on the Key Peninsula, now on John's Northwest Adventures. It's the later end of November, and the fish hatchery has collected all the fish eggs that it's needed for the season. The Minter Creek Hatchery is a nursery for fall Chinook salmon. Fall Chinook are not believed to be indigenous to this tributary of Carr Inlet. The first release of these fall Chinook were back in 1946. The hatchery's goal every year is to release 1.8 million salmon spawn, known as fingerlings. Fall Chinook aren't the only salmon that come up this creek. There are also steelhead, coho, and chum salmon. You may notice some straightened lines right here. It is no coincidence. Historical events, though, go way back, as far as 1792. A man named Peter Puget was mapping the area and looking for British government. He was being followed by members of the Squally tribe. While fishing on the cove next to the Puget Sound, they met and became friends. In 1882, the Minter family would move here and got along well with the natives, and by 1884, several other families would also move here. Lucinda Minter began a school within her own home. Within the following year, she would then start a post office, while George Minter would build a hotel in 1888. Through the years, this place became a decent-sized town, with a saloon and a blacksmith shop, also a social hall, a brick kiln, and several stores. By 1900, a logging railway and a steamer dock were built. All that is left now is stubs and overgrowth. In 1931, an oyster farm was started, known today as the Minterbrook Oyster Company. By 1937, the town had all but vanished. Travel methods of the mosquito flight and its downfall may have been a contributing factor. In 1937, the Salmon Research Hatchery was built. 83 of these hatcheries exist in the state of Washington, releasing over 100 million fish each year. Each hatchery has a fish ladder that salmon naturally swim up into their holding ponds, where they are then separated between male and female fish for processing. Salmon that are not ready for spawning are put into a separate holding pond and are then released. The salmon's main artery by the tail fin is cut for a quick death. Sperm is collected from the male salmon by milking them, a process of squeezing their belly to collect. The female salmon are cut open to retrieve their eggs, then collected into buckets. The salmon eggs are then fertilized within those buckets. The fertilized eggs are incubated and eventually are released into holding ponds. For the next 12 to 18 months, salmon will spend their lives here. Now, what were we talking about? Right, this place gets very popular for fishing, given only when the salmon runs are coming in during the fall. The confusion on this fish, pulled outside of its known universe, trying to breathe, flipping and flopping everywhere. The fisherman lends some assistance to release the fish back into the water. Puget Sound tide was beginning to swallow this estuary of Minter Creek. The tide creeps all the way to the fish hatchery and submerges the entire area. Watch out for these things. They are lion's mane jellyfish. These things float all around the Puget Sound and can grow up to 7 feet in diameter. If you find one on the beach, its fate is already cast and will likely be dead by the time the tide is back. This is a chum salmon. You can differentiate it with the line pattern that appears during spawn season. These fish are pretty tough. Some will drag their catch back to their vehicles. There are some that clean their fish on site right after capture. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to keep up to date with the latest adventures I go on, be sure to click subscribe.